Good morning and welcome to Cindy's Kitchen. Okay, so here's what you're gonna need. A soup pot, sometimes called a stock pot, right? Just a big old soup pot. I'm starting with the cans of soup. Now you can use any brand you want, but I'm doing this is Progresso and it's creamy tomato soup with basil. I'm gonna put 1 and 2. It's easy to make this from scratch using tomatoes, but you know, again, quick, easy, no choppy. I'm just gonna put about a half a teaspoon of salt, and I'm just gonna use granulated powdered garlic, okay? And I'm gonna add about a half a teaspoon of that. Again, this is what you want, so that will not be in the directions. Okay, so we did 2 cans of soup. These are 19-ounce cans, all right? And then I'm gonna put in a 32-ouncer of vegetable broth. Vegetable broth, vegetable stock. You can use chicken, don't worry. I don't know that I would use beef. I think that would give it kind of a funky flavor, but you know, it is your kitchen, not my kitchen, so there you go. Look, I am gonna add just a whiff of cream. Now this is heavy cream, you don't have to use, yeah, it's still good. So maybe a tablespoon or 2. I just like that lighter color. It makes me happy. So now you can see it's a little bit of a lighter color. Okay, now we're gonna put this on the stove to boil. I'm gonna add 2 other things. The first is frozen tortellini. Now you can use any brand, any kind you like. Good morning, Laurie. This is just, what is this? This is just cheese tortellini, and it's frozen. Now, that being said, you may say, well, can I use ravioli? And here's what I would tell you why I choose to use tortellini and not ravioli. If ravioli tends to sit in broth for any amount of time, it starts to fall apart. And when it falls apart, whatever's inside, the cheese or whatever, then kind of oozes into your broth, which is fine. 9 times out of 10, there's cheese in there, and more cheese is not a bad thing, right? So, that being said, these tend to stay together better in a broth, so they don't just fall apart, okay? So that's why I'm using tortellini and not ravioli, okay? Hey, Joanne. And then the second thing I'm gonna add is a bag of frozen meatballs. Just whatever brand, whatever kind, these are on sale. That's why I'm using these. All right, we're gonna start on our next recipe. I'm gonna use a bundt pan. You don't have to use a bundt pan, but I'm gonna use a bundt pan because I just think it's pretty, all right? We're gonna do a thing of biscuits. Now this is a generic brand, but the Grand's type, you know, the big jumbos. All right, you ready? It's like when you pop champagne, you're waiting for this to go, aren't you? Waiting, wait, oh! Every time, it scares the bejeebers out of me. Now, if you don't have these big biscuits, these big, you know, ginormous biscuits, and you only have the smaller biscuits, you certainly can use those, because these are just refrigerated biscuits, but I would suggest that you get 2 containers of the small biscuits, 1 container of these bigger ones, okay? I melted 1 stick of butter in the microwave. 1 stick of butter. And I'm gonna put this, I could have just stuck that big bowl in there, couldn't I? And I'm gonna put this in my bowl. We need a big enough bowl to mix our stuff in. Isn't that pretty? Ooh, oh, ooh. How many pieces you wanna cut these in? These packets of biscuits have 8 biscuits in them, right? So you can just do them in quarters, or you can do them even smaller than that. That's wholly up to you. So I'm gonna cut them like that. So you saw I cut once down and then across, all right? And I'm gonna do this one too. And I know you're gonna go, Cindy, you just smushed them all together. It's okay, I'm gonna pull them apart. Because really, this is a pull-apart recipe to begin with anyway. We're just gonna pull them apart several times. Okay, here's our butter. See our butter? Yum, butter, 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 butter. All right, now we're gonna take and we're just gonna pull these apart, okay? See, I'm gonna pull them apart and dump them in the butter, okay? How easy is this? Your kids could do this. And quite frankly, if you didn't want to cut the biscuits, you know, if you're like, if you want the kids to do this and you don't want them to use a knife, then you can just have them pull it apart with their fingers. See? Biscuits pull apart pretty easy. See, you could do that instead of cutting. Now, about, here. When I get these in here, when I dump them in, about every so often, I'm just gonna give it a toss in the butter because, you know, if not, they kind of stick together. All right, boiling soup. Look how pretty that is. Yum, yum, and yum. So this is our boiling 2 cans of tomato soup, or tomato soup with basil, whichever, or tomato basil soup, whatever your can says. A 32-ounce thing of vegetable stock, although you could have used chicken stock. And then I added a little salt and some garlic powder, only because mine was reduced sodium. So that being said, now I'm gonna dump in my bag of frozen tortellini, and this is 19 ounces, in case you're curious. Be careful, no splashy. In goes our tortellini, in goes our frozen meatballs, yeah! And in goes our fresh basil, okay? La 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 la. I'm gonna give that a stir. And then I'm gonna put it back on the stove. Oh, look at all that. See, it looks good already. I'm gonna put it back on the stove and bring it back up to a boil, all right? How easy is this? Easy. Okay, so now we're back to the monkey bread. Not the parrot bread, but the monkey bread. Instant pudding, butterscotch. Again, this is the generic store-bought. I do a lot of generic. There are some things that make us a difference, but not for this. Okay, and this is just, and like I said, it's instant pudding, 3.5 ounces. Can you use other flavors? And you know we've done this recipe before. I've used chocolate, I've used vanilla. Those are all good. And you certainly can do it that way. Watch. I'm just gonna use my hands. All right, so you see how, look, isn't that pretty? We've got butter and butterscotch pudding all over our biscuits. All right, now, now I just wanna lick my fingers. We got a spray. So when I was growing up, there was no spray. So if you wanted to bake, you had to stick your hand either in butter or Crisco, right? And you buttered or you greased the inside of your pan, and then you put some flour in there and you did one of these numbers until it was buttered and floured. Now we buy the butter and the flour or the oil and the flour in a spray can. Oops, hold on. All right, so I'm gonna spray this only because I want this to pop right out when I'm done. Okay, there we go. Here's our monkey, ooh, ooh, ooh. And we're gonna put this all the way around in the bottom of our bundt pan. All right, now you just wanna make sure you go all the way around, okay? I've done this in a flat pan. So if you don't have a bundt pan or you don't wanna use a bundt pan, you can do it in a flat pan. What was I saying? Oh, the biscuits. So you know the biscuits get really big, right? And so you want to make sure that whatever size pan you use, you give enough room so that they can really, you know, I want to say double up. Do a double up, okay? Now I'm just going to take and go around just to make sure I've got kind of an even layer. I could use my fingers for this, but my fingers are already yuck, 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 right? All right, there you go. Look at that. Thank you, Tanya, for putting that on there. MorePolishPottery.com is where I get my Polish pottery. All right, so that's in there. If you wanted to be just a little bit more naughty, you could take some butterscotch chips and you could mix that in there when you were doing it. Or put them on the bottom first and then put it on so that when you flip it over, you've got some butterscotch chips. But not necessary, okay? All right, 375, because that's the temperature that the biscuit can says, whatever your biscuit can says. All right, so we're gonna put this in, and we're gonna bake this for about 20 minutes. It's gonna be, your whole house is gonna smell so good that you're gonna wanna take it out early. All right, so into the oven it goes. You cook it for 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, I need that. After 20 minutes, you're gonna take it out, especially if you're using a bundt pan. Let it set for about 10 minutes, okay? So here's what happens. When things heat up, then they expand. So you need to let them cool down so they start to contract. So what's gonna happen is, when you let it cool, it's gonna start to contract, and then it'll flip out of your pan much easier. If you try to take it right out when it's all still hot and try to flip out, it'll all fall apart. So when you flip, look at that. Look how pretty that is. Yummy, yummy, yummy. That's what it looks like. Okay, but wait, there's more. I do. When she's home, we'll have to do that. Okay, so here we need another bowl. Get another bowl. This is just a medium bowl. And we're gonna need, where's my cup? Oh, here it is. We're gonna need 2 cups of powdered sugar, okay? Let me get down in there. You know that 1 cup of powdered sugar, 2 cups of powdered sugar. I know it's a little high, but there you go. There's no such thing as too much frosting, is there? No. And this really isn't a frosting, it's kind of like a glaze, all right? Now we're gonna use 2 tablespoons of milk. And I know you're going 2 cups to 2 tablespoons, but I promise you, if you've never done a glaze like this, so 1, 2. Now, if we need some more, we'll get some more, but just a second. Okay, which should I use? Should I use my Danish batter whisk, or should I use my new cool spatula? Look at that. Is that cool? Danish whisk? I think I'll use the Danish whisk. All right, so I know it's much easier to do it this way, but with my arthritis, it's better for me to do it this way. Now, you're gonna start stirring. You can just use a regular spatula if you want to. And in the beginning, you're gonna go, there needs to be a lot more liquid in there. And I know that's what it looks like, Danish, I know. A lot more liquid in there. And I know that it looks like that, but really, once we start mixing it all up, we're not gonna need that much. We'll add a little bit more if we so need to, okay? La, la, la. This one takes the most. You certainly could use a hand mixer. I know, isn't that spatula beautiful? I was naughty, because see, I got this one at the grocery store, but I thought it was so cool, and they only had that one. So I went online and ordered a whole set. Ha, 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 ha. It's made out of bamboo. How cool is that? Bamboo, I tell you. All right. I may have to, I'm gonna get my spatula. I may need to add some more. I do. I'm gonna have to add a little bit more liquid. Ugh. So add another tablespoon, but you only wanna go a tablespoon at a time, because if you add too much, then you just have to add, it's like making gravy, right? If you forget that there's an exact amount that you should use for gravy, then, you know, because it's equal parts fat and flour. And if you forget that and you just start going, oh, it's too dry, it needs more milk. Oh, it's too milky, it needs more. It's just constant battle of adding and adding and adding. Okay, picking this up. La, 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 la. Okay, now, you see how thick that is? Can you see how, I shouldn't have used a white bowl, should I? Look how thick that is. Oh. And that's what we want. We don't want, I know. Oh, Mom, I'm so proud of you. You said hi to Terry. That's cool. All right, so there you go. Look at that. The only thing you might want to make sure, and that's the why you want to use your spatula, is just kind of press down, make sure you get all your little spots. I know I should have sifted the powdered sugar and it would have been easier, right? I know. All right, here we go. Hold on. I'm gonna fill my spoon up. You ready? Bring over my monkey bread, and here we go. Ready? Oh, yummy, yummy. Look at that. And it's gonna ooze down the sides, which will make it beautiful. Hold on, I gotta get another whole spoonful of frosting. Glaze, not really frosting. I tell you, you say you wish your cool supermarket. I have been really, I don't know, nervous maybe, that of the things that aren't in the grocery store anymore. Like I used to, remember we made that mushroom soup the other day? I used to go to the grocery store and there were 8 different kinds of mushrooms that I could buy. And I went to 2 different grocery stores and all I could find was button mushrooms, baby bella, big portobellas, and the shiitakes. And that's it. That's all I could find. I even looked like where the dried stuff is, because a lot of times you can find dried mushrooms and then just rehydrate them, but I couldn't. So it's a little frustrating. Look at this, yum. Now, if you don't want to do this, if you want to just buy a tub of frosting and just frost it, you certainly can do that. But quite frankly, 2 cups of powdered sugar and a couple of tablespoons of milk, and that's really cheap. Really, really cheap, okay? All right, I don't want to waste any of this, so I didn't lick the one I'm using. All right, so I'm just gonna use my spatula and get the rest of this out, and I'm gonna drizzle over here. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Yum, 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 yum. Okay, look. This is, look how pretty that is. Oh, ooh, ah. Now you have some options. If you're a neat and tidy OCD person, you get a knife and you can cut a piece out. Are you OCD? Are you neat and tidy? That could happen. Or you do what you're supposed to do, because this is called pull apart bread, okay? So I'm just gonna reach down and grab and pull it apart. Look at that. And there's a perfect little bite. So we're having dessert first. You ready? Happy Sugar Rush dance. Look. Butterscotch chip. All right. So good. So there you go. All right. Sip of coffee. You know those shows? Those professional cooking shows? They don't ever have a big mouthful of food, do they? So good. Okay, you ready? Let's eat some soup. Ouch, 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 ouch. So hot, so hot, so hot. All right, can you see? Look in there. Look how everything is floated to the top. And really, these are big meatballs too. This didn't take, but our tortellini is floating. We've got that fresh basil in there. Look how cool that looks. Isn't that awesome? All right, so I'm gonna get my soup bowl. Look at this, it has a princess on it. Aw, I'm a princess. Okay, and I'm gonna load up. La 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 la. Look at that. Look how pretty that is. And it's very hot. You know I'm gonna burn my mouth. You know that's what's gonna happen, don't you? All right. If I put that whole tortellini in my mouth, I'm gonna get a part of it, okay? Obviously, we can get some meatball too, but see how easy? Can you believe how easy that was? Thank you, Sheila. Can you believe how easy this recipe is? Really, dump, dump, dump. Perfect. Oh, I love you, Cherry. So sweet. So there you go. How cool was today? This fantastic soup that literally is done in 15, 20 minutes. There you go. And then once we finish this, we get to satisfy our sweet tooth with this fantastic pull-apart monkey bread. So good. Well, that's it for today. I hope you had a good time. Don't forget that we've changed our schedule. Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays, 11 o'clock Central Standard Time. Usually by about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon every day that we have a show. You can find us on YouTube, and it's an edited version with the recipe. So there you go. I hope you make sure you like us on YouTube, follow us, set your notifications on, and then if you forget when we're on, you'll get notified. You guys have an awesome day, and I'll see you again on Tuesday. Bye, everybody.